Hey guys, welcome back. About 2 weeks ago, I finished the USS Voyager build, and I was getting ready to do my version of the USS Discovery Enterprise. That build was going to start just a few days ago, but I got the opportunity to look at this lighting kit for the 1/350th scale USS Enterprise, and that is just absolutely one of the best Star Trek models ever. So I was very, very excited to get a look at this lighting kit. But my Discovery Enterprise, that build will be starting this week. It'll be a slow build, but I should have a video about that coming out this week. But I had to really jump on looking at this lighting kit because it is probably one of the best lighting kits that has been put out by a model manufacturer. It was a good lighting kit back in 2011 when it first came out with the 350th USS Enterprise. And this is a new and updated version with better instructions, better connections, better quality on the circuit boards, and a couple other changes. So we're going to go really in depth on what is making this a new and better kit. Now, I know this is a long video, but there is a lot to look at in this lighting kit. Those of you who have seen the old version of this kit can kind of see the parts that are different in this version of the kit. And these 1/350th scale builds, these are models that are close to 3 feet long. They are an intense process. So this will be a very, very long build. But hopefully you guys will really be able to see how the lighting kit works in the model kit. Now let me take a moment and talk about what this actually lights up on the kit, because the Enterprise has a lot of things that need to be lit up. So the first thing is all of the windows. Windows along the saucer rim, along the bottom dome, the neck, the engineering hull. All of these windows are clear parts on the model kit, so we need lights for all of these. In fact, the model kit has more windows than the studio model did. The studio model only had windows on one side, so they only filmed it from that side. When they need to show the Enterprise going the other direction, they reversed the film. This lighting kit will have all the lights you need to light all of the windows on the ship. It will also have lights and motors to provide the really cool effects for these nacelle end caps. These nacelle end caps on the original studio model, they had broken pieces of glass along the back, they had Christmas lights, they had a motor turning a cage in front of them. So a lot of things went in to making that cool effect for the show. Looking at our box art for the model kit itself, we can see we have domes that need to be lit up on the bottom of the saucer. We need to light up the bridge, and the lighting kit provides a new piece to help you do that. You need to be able to light up the shuttle bay so you can see the really cool shuttle in detail within the model. So when this lighting kit talks about 90 LEDs, that's why you need 90 LEDs for all of the windows throughout the entire ship, for the nacelle caps, and for those parts like the bridge and the shuttle bay. In fact, it gives you a couple optional parts to add a blue glow right back here on the nacelles if that's something you choose to do. Now, there are very few subjects that are as universally loved as the original USS Enterprise from Star Trek. And there are very few model kits that are done as well as the 350th scale USS Enterprise. Now on my build, I'm going to be using the 50th anniversary edition of this model kit, which mostly just changed the saucer, removed grid lines, and it made the saucer smooth. But this is absolutely one of the best made sci-fi models, both in its size and its accuracy. Before we get to looking at the lighting kit for this model, I want to look at two other models that are kind of in this genre of classic ships, really high-end models that had manufacturers' lighting kits available. For me, the closest model kit that compares to that wonderful 350th scale TOS Enterprise is this, the Bandai Perfect Grade Millennium Falcon. Both of these universally loved subjects, both of them try to be the best modern representation of the ships. And this Bandai Perfect Grade I built a few years ago. I want to kind of bring it out here because like the TOS Enterprise 350th scale, the manufacturer made a light kit. Now, Round 2 or Polar Lights, they sell the light kit separately. Bandai included the light kit on the Millennium Falcon, but only if you bought the original edition. Now, the manufacturer lighting kit on the Bandai Perfect Grade Millennium Falcon really didn't give you that much. It gave you the backlights. It gave you lights on these landing legs. On the entry ramp, it gave you lights and a little light inside. It also gave you lights inside the cabin. Here's a little look at some of the lights inside the cockpit there. But a lot of the real signature lights I had to add myself. The little headlights you see here in front, I added those. The red lights by the ramp I added. And some of these lights underneath, the little pinpoints, the floodlights for the ground, I added those. I guess what I'm trying to say is even on a great Millennium Falcon kit, they really skimped when it came to the lighting kit. All right, and here's a look at the lighting kit that was used on the 350th scale Katinga, which did some really nice things. Kind of with this light that shines out on the wings to kind of shine near the registry. We had light up engines. We had little lights by the landing bay here. One LED and some clever light piping is doing all the points of light around the end of this warp nacelle. Once again, you can see that floodlight lighting up the insignia. A strobe light right here on the boom. And of course, it had all the lights across the front of the ship, the light up photon torpedo, and the lights back by this bulkhead here. And of course, the Katinga Light Kit was very easy to install and part of a gorgeous model kit. Now, the only problem with the Katinga lighting kit is for a lot of the lighting effects, you end up having to kind of look at it straight on to get the full effect. So right here with these grills, it looks great from the front. As you kind of start to go to the side, you lose that a little bit. And along with kind of the front lights, and with the front lights, a little bit of the same. As long as you're looking at it straight on, you can't see the light. But as you kind of turn to the side, you start losing a little bit of it. It looks a little bit better in real life than it does on camera, but you do have to have kind of sometimes the right viewing angle to get the best effect. And while I have my Katinga out with kind of some of the bright lights on here, I will say, since I don't have this on camera very often, these are the box recommended colors for the Katinga. So if you're curious kind of what those paints listed on the box will look like on a built model, that's what they look like. Kind of those dark, deep greens for the Katinga. And I think it looks good. Well, now it's time to take a look at the actual lighting kit that is new and updated for this year, 2021. And really, my hope is, first, it's definitely got to beat out that Bandai light kit, which didn't even light up the right parts on the Millennium Falcon. This lighting kit, from everything I've seen, lights up the right parts, lights them up the right color, and is accurate, so it beats that Bandai one up. I'm also really hoping that it does better than the Katinga lighting kit, which is a good lighting kit, but it does have those issues of not always being able to see the lights when you kind of change your viewing angle. My expectation is this is probably going to be one of the best lighting kits I've ever used, but of course we won't have a final judgment on that until I've actually completed this build, probably months down the road. All right, it's a hefty box, a small but hefty, new and improved, over 90 LEDs. So right there we know this is going to be more than any of those other lighting kits I've used. Revised instructions, we'll get to look at those in a moment. An on-off switch you can put in the stand. Colored clear parts, engine fan motors, no solder necessary. So some wonderful features there. Hopefully we'll see how well it lives up to those. Couple pictures of the parts. Along the back, we just get a few more features. The switch, accurate facade lighting effects, flashing lights. So the Discovery version of the Enterprise did not have any flashing lights. It had moving motors for the nacelles, but no flashes. AC power adapter included. I don't think the original version of this had that. I think maybe it was batteries. But I do like it being able to run off a wall switch. And I'm very excited to see these clear parts. So hopefully we'll get to see these in a moment. Okay, let's take a look at these instructions because these are one of the new things that are revamped and redone for this edition of the lighting kit. First of all, there are some great descriptions of your circuit boards, some really nice labels to help you understand which of the cables and wires goes into which part of the circuit board. You get some really great descriptions and diagrams to show you how the new LED connectors connect to the LED strip, kind of how to lay them in, how to make sure the copper strips make connections, and how to close it up. So some really great pictures there. So there are some parts in here where you put some raw wires together and it just shows you twisting them. You don't need to solder them. And they do give you some shrink wrap to help with some of those. And it gives you some instructions on how to actually take those in and out of the circuit board. But the really nice instructions really are on the inside here. I want to take a moment and look at my Discovery model kit, which has a lighting kit done by Polar Lights. And this front part is friction fit. It's not glued in. And what that lets me do is that lets me actually get to the circuit board. So if I had a loose wire after I built it, I could actually kind of pull this circuit board out and look at it, or adjust some of the wires there to keep them from blocking the window. But that's kind of a nice thing if you know that you don't have to glue that in. So why do I bring that up while looking at these instructions? Because not only do you really get some wonderful directions to show you kind of exactly how these things assemble, both instructions done with pictures and some very, very thorough descriptions here, really step by step right out. But in addition to that, you get some parts where they kind of make it clear there are some parts you do not have to glue. So if we look at this, you can actually leave this nacelle end cap friction fit and not glued. It shows you how to line them up. It shows you how to glue these parts only onto this top structure, not onto the bottom part, and how then you'll be able to remove this in case you need to test things or look at things or look for loose wire. So they actually point out several parts on this ship where you can leave this friction fit so you can still get to a few of the wires directly underneath it. And just like on the Discovery kit, the deflector dish is another one where you can leave it unglued so you can get access to that circuit board. And that main circuit board is going to be right behind it there. So they're very, very clear that there are some parts where you have to test the lights before gluing things together. So they let you know you won't be able to get to these again. Same thing on the saucer. They will really say, test these before gluing parts together, so you know you won't be able to get to those. So they're very, very clear on things you will never be able to get to again and things you'll be able to get to. Look at this. They make it clear what areas to paint. They have a reminder in the back that even though you're light blocking it, you'll be able to see this wall from the outside. So be careful not to put your light blocking all the way out here. And this is something else that's revised on this kit. They have done some different LEDs back here for the shuttle bay. On the first edition, there were some real hard carving out of the kit you had to do to make these LEDs fit. So I know they've used some different square ones here that hopefully will make that fit better, and you'll have to do less carving to light up the back shuttle bay. The instruction sheets also have a parts list of everything you should have in the kit. So if you lose one of the labels off the wires, you will be able to go to this and find out, oh, my cable is 9 inches, so it is cable E. or it's 4.5 with the connectors for the strips, so it's part C. So even if you lose those tiny little labels, you will still know what wires you have. So now, one thing that's nice about this being an official kit from the manufacturer is they're able to do a few parts in colored plastic for you to match the kit. Now, I call these Christmas light parts because I believe in the actual model, they used Christmas lights inside the nacelle to give it those wonderful colors that kind of shine through. So you get 4 sprues that are all identical in red, in green, in blue, and in orange, with those Christmas light shapes to put in behind the spinning fans. You have a couple different sizes there. Now, I'm gonna have to dig a little bit on the instructions of the kit. I'm really hoping that these parts on the sprue, at least on the red and green, I'm hoping those might be replacements for the little nav lights on the model, so that you've got an easy green and red part to switch out there. I'm not sure, but I kind of suspect that that's what some of these parts are for, to replace some of the navigation lights. But you get some wonderful clear parts that are brilliantly colored to help with those Christmas light effects inside the nacelle. You also get clear parts for the warp nacelles with wonderful bit of texture. That is something that's a little revisionist. They did not light up in the original show, but when they got some money and did Star Trek The Motion Picture, they said, of course, those inline things were supposed to light up blue. If we'd had the money, that's the way they would have looked. Kind of the same thing with the Klingons. So we just kind of assume the TOS Klingons looked like motion picture Klingons. They just didn't have the money to do it. And we kind of assume that the inside of the warp nacelles lit up along these lines, even though they never showed it on the ship. So you get clear parts for those. You also get clear shuttle bay parts. There's our clear back wall, so it'll be easy to kind of mask off some of the windows to the observation deck. You get clear sidewalls for the shuttle bay, a clear shuttle bay roof, and you get a clear bridge so that's easy to light up. You also get a clear rear deck for the ship, so you can light up some of the landing lights on the back of that deck. Probably the most important part of this lighting kit is the lighting effect for the warp nacelles. Now in Star Trek, warp is obviously a big deal, from the bright flashes from TNG style warp to what we had in the original show, which was these wonderful, mysterious, glowing red and orange moving lights on the front of the nacelles. So this has quite a few parts dedicated just for that. So each nacelle has a circuit board with different lights. These are going to be behind those Christmas bulb lights that are on the nacelle to make them glow in all the different colors. Once again, we can see the back of the circuit board, very well done. Nice solder and hot glue holding the wires on. So these circuit boards, they're going to be behind all of your colored plastic. I will try and find out if these flash. I don't know if they do, and I don't know if that's necessary. Most of the movement is going to be provided by the motors. These are the motors that are used in the kit. They are very small. This is kind of cool. This is a planetary gear system that reduces the rotations from the motor to gear it down so it's spinning at the right speed for the TOS. They do go in opposite directions. So one is labeled right and the other one is labeled left. And it looks like I may have lost one of the markers as I was kind of playing around with these. So I'll probably take a permanent marker and draw just an L on this one. But very nicely done motors. These are very similar to the ones used in the Discovery kit. Hopefully in a little bit, on one of the next few videos I do about this, we'll be able to see them and hear kind of how loud they are. But so if you can picture this, this is going to be mounted in the nacelle. This is going to come up behind it to turn the nacelle cage, and you'll layer lots of different brightly colored pieces of plastic above it to give it that wonderful sense of movement and different colors behind those bizarre covers. We have two circuit boards. I believe this one will go in the saucer. It'll have power in from the base, and then this will power all the lights in the saucer. One of the big improvements that they've done on this is if you take a look at those connections, there is a lot more solder there. It is stronger, better connections on this one. So they really tried to pay attention to make these as strong as they could. You still want to be careful with them. You still, if you need to take something out, you want to press a little release with a little screwdriver. You don't want to just yank them. But they have tried to do what they can to make these solder points better and stronger. This one should go inside the main deflector dish. And if you take a look there, once again, it should be very strong connections and very strong soldering on all those parts that you have to plug things into. Here is our wall adapter. Wonderful that we'll be able to plug in the ship. Nice not to have to go try and hunt down on Amazon or eBay exactly the right power adapter. So that's great. Hopefully it has a real long cord to make your display options easy. Measuring this, it looks like it is about 6 feet for this power cord. So that's wonderful. That should help you be able to position it anywhere in your display. Now, this is something I'm pretty excited about. This should be a new addition to the lighting kit. This is the adapter for the wall adapter and an on-off switch that you can mount in the base. And you can see it is all pre-soldered for you and heat shrinked. And this is actually not very different than what I do when I build my models. Here's my Excelsior, and underneath it really is just about the same thing. Here's my switch with the wires going to the plug, and I've just got a lot of epoxy holding in there. So there you can see there's the plug going out, and there's a switch that sticks up on the base. So this will just have kind of this more, a little bit more of a flush mount circular toggle switch, and better than my big old lever here. And it looks like they have provided some heat shrink tubing to help you attach these wires to the actual lighting kit. But this is very nice. It saves a lot of trouble and makes those connections very, very easy. So you can have an on-off switch built into the dome base. And when I get to that part of the build, we'll see a little bit more about it. The next part of the lighting kit is all of the LEDs. They all have, let's see if I can get a strand separated here. All right, so here is a strand of LEDs. They all are labeled. So this is strand R. So when you plug it into the circuit board, you'll be able to see right there, it is R. This part will connect right into here on the circuit board. And you'll just follow the instructions for exactly where to lay this. It has a female joint or female socket here. So you're plugging another LED socket into here, but you can see all the LEDs pre-wired to easy snap connectors. And I wonder if I grabbed the one for the shuttle bay. So you can kind of see here. Yeah, the shuttle bay is supposed to have new square LEDs. And you can kind of see here, these are much more flush squares instead of the round one, which is considerably larger. So hopefully that will make it a lot easier to fit those lights in along the shuttle bay. Once again, I haven't checked the instructions to see if this is exactly that strand, but I do know the shuttle bay has new LEDs and they are supposed to be square like this. So I think this may be the shuttle bay one, but no promises on that. But these are well labeled, easy connections. In addition to just the pre-wired LEDs, this kit also comes with LED strips to light up some of the big areas of the ship. And all new in this model kit, we have new connections for these LED strips. All right, now these new LED connectors, very robust, very easy to use. You simply open them up like this, and you're going to line up these little connections here with the copper pads that are on the LED strip tape. You'll lay that down and just close it on it, sandwiching it inside, and that will make the connection. And it really does have a pretty strong snap there to hold everything in place. But this will save you a lot of time. Usually on my build, I'm having to solder all the wires to these LED tapes. So these easy connectors will make things very easy. Also, it opens up on the back side too. So where these wires connect, that can be opened up if you need to. Once again, you shouldn't need to open this up, but it does open it up in case you do need to make any changes back here or look for a loose connection. These connectors do let you look at the wires and get to the connection to the LED strip. Now there's a couple different styles of these. Like this one connects an LED strip right to the circuit board, but there's also several of these that connect LED tape to LED tape. So same connector on both sides. So you get a lot of those connections. So just kind of to recap what is in this kit, we've got 2 circuit boards, one for the saucer, one for the engineering hole, for all your connections to go into. We have a switch with a socket to be built into your base. We have a power socket with a 6-foot cord to power it all. For the nacelles, you get a moving effect by having the motors spinning those fan blades. You'll get lights behind those wonderful plastic parts to provide a lot of those wonderful colors within those nacelles. I'm not sure if these flicker or flash behind there. Either way, you'll be able to get a lot of that wonderful movement just from the motors. So we should have some wonderful nacelle effects there. You get about 24 of these pre-made connections between LED strip and LED strip and LED strip and circuit board. So tons of wires there for your connections. And then you get quite a few of these strands that are LEDs to the circuit board. Quite a few different sizes and shapes of LEDs here. So it looks like this one's a 5mm. Looks like that one is probably 3mm. And of course those square ones that we looked at earlier. Once again, all of them very clearly labeled what strand they are and where they go into those circuit boards. All right, and you also get additional plastic parts to replace some parts from the kit. In some cases, you're getting clear parts to replace opaque pieces. Sometimes you're getting colored and tinted parts to make lighting even easier. And of course, we're getting the revised instructions. Very, very in-depth and with a lot of cool hints about how you can leave some things just friction fit so you can still get to things. This is the kind of thing where you're going to have to sit down, read these instructions, because it will absolutely be worth it. It goes into depth to really explain everything you're supposed to do to make this lighting kit work. All right, so that is a good look at the lighting kit for the 350th scale USS Enterprise. And really, it's not often you see a kit done with this much to it. It's really the lighting kit the TOS Enterprise deserves. So I'll be very excited to start using this and putting it into my build. So thank you to Polar Lights for sending us this copy so you guys can get to take a look at it. Over the next few weeks, the first thing I want to do is I want to build just one nacelle. I think that being able to see the effects of the nacelle motor and those clear parts will really show a lot of what this lighting kit is capable of. It should also show us how a lot of the connections work and how well some of those friction parts will be. And I think I can get a nacelle built in a good frame of time. Of course, the 350th scale Enterprise is an intense build, and my build will not be perfect. If you want to see like a perfect, incredible build of the TOS, there's plenty of those on YouTube. My build is going to be my ship. It's going to be a fairly average build, but it really will show off this lighting kit. So you'll have a good idea of what this lighting kit will look like in your build. But also, I have got to get to work on my new version of the Enterprise from Discovery. I mean, I've had the paint masks and those third-party parts for months now, and I haven't gotten started on this. So I've got to get this build going, the updated version of the Discovery Enterprise, and that's going to be coming up real quick. It's really it's a big itch I've got to scratch to start working on the updated version of this. So hopefully we'll have a few videos about this in the next week or so, and hopefully a video just showing kind of the lit nacelle to give us a better understanding of this lighting kit in the next few weeks as well. So thank you guys for following our channel. We'll be back very soon.